Welcome to Real Life with Jenny. My name's Jenny Sanaparatna. Grab your favorite drink, get a snack, and we'll get started. Today I have mini waffle cones filled with salted caramel and milk chocolate. I got them especially for a snack on the podcast. They're okay, not craveable, but they're decent and they were a good price at Aldi, so it's a win-win. And I have my Ceylon tea with cream and sugar, of course. Well, let's get real. I really wanted to talk today a little bit about something that may seem a little odd to you, and that's okay. Just go with the flow. So I currently have a senior, and I cannot believe I'm saying that I was senior in high school, but there we are. And I remember years and years ago, we sitting at one of my mom's groups, and I believe Sam was probably 2, maybe 3. I don't even know that she was that old. And we're sitting at this table and someone was like, "Where do you find God?" And I was like, he's everywhere. Like, this seems like a trick question. I was very kind of confused by the question. And this one lady in my group talked about how when she was in nature, she felt God's presence at a deeper level. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not an outdoors girl. I've said that before. In fact, I just read something on like memories on social media, and it was me saying, "Oh, I really love this view," and I'm looking out at the lake, and my daughter yet pipes up and says, "Yeah, from the screened-in porch," which is very true. I love to look out at nature, not necessarily be in it. Being in it is not my favorite thing because I don't like to be hot. I don't like to get dirty. In fact, I just had to repot all of my plants, and Sam had a friend over, and I think her friend was like, "What is happening with your mom?" Because I would like come in and wash my hands because I'm like, there's dirt on my hands. This is so gross. I'm just not an outdoorsy girl. But that has really kind of stuck with me what that one lady at the table said. And so when I leave the house and when we go on our weekends, I have realized that I really do enjoy nature. I enjoy looking at it. I don't enjoy being in it all that much. I'll go hiking if my husband really wants me to. I say with hesitation because I really don't like to hike. I'll just be honest, I really don't. It's not enjoyable. To him it is. To me it's not. I would much rather sit on a beach and look out underneath an umbrella and look at and be comfortable with the breeze hitting me and not necessarily walking up and down the beach. I don't necessarily need that. I can put my toes in the sand and then put them back up on the chair. Like, I'm very comfortable with that. And I realized that in Sri Lanka. It was like a life-size safari because everything is so different when you're on a tropical island, right? Like the animals are different, they sound different, they look different, all of the plant life is different. The fruits and the vegetables, everything is so different when you're in another country. I have not been to a country yet that I was like, well, this looks a lot like my home. Some things kind of do, but really not everything's so unique. And during my trip, took a ton of pictures of trees and leaves and flowers and trees. And someone even said, "Boy, your social media is kind of boring because it's all trees and leaves and different vegetation." Now, part of that was I was trying to be respectful of who we were with and not take pictures of people and put them up on social media because I'm just really not that kind. Not that there's anything wrong with it. That's just not really who I am. And we're in a country that is a sensitive country that doesn't allow missionaries in. And so I really wanted to be cautious of what I put up on social media. So I kept it really safe and tame. But also part of it was I was so inspired sitting there going, there was this one plant, and I actually put it up on Real Life with Jenny this week as what are your pictures for the week. And it's like a spiral plant. And it looks like a spiral, like a spring. And it was gorgeous, almost like a spider plant met a slinky. That's what it looked like. And it was just, I stood there and I was looking at this plant, and it's in someone's yard. in a pot. I mean, it wasn't like I was out in real nature having a safari. Like I was in someone's yard looking at a potted plant. But I sat there going, I cannot even believe God's creativity here. The creativity to make a kind of plant that I have never seen before. I am 47 years old. I'm very observant when it comes to plants. I had my grandmother who would bring me out into the woods despite me wanting to as a child and showing me the lady slippers and all the different. I remember my grandfather bringing me and saying, these are honeysuckles, now you eat these. And I was like, we're eating plants? Like this is where we are financially? What you think of it as a 6 or 7 year old. And he was like, no, just trust me. And I remember biting on this plant going, oh my goodness. And just the creativity that God has in these plants are just extraordinary. That you can go to any country in the world, any state in the United States, and find a different kind of tree, a different kind of plant. You can see God's creativity all around. And one of the things that was so overwhelming to me every time I get somewhere like this is the ocean. And I remember when my daughter was 6 and we went, or 6 or 7, and we were staying in the hotel. We were in the hotel 99% of the time. In fact, I think we were in the hotel most of the time. And not like all the time during the day, just that's where we stayed, in this hotel. And we were right on the ocean. And I remember almost being annoyed by the ocean because it never shut off. And it was so loud and so obnoxious. And it kept hitting the wave. The waves kept coming in and hitting the rocks and coming in and hitting the rocks and making all this noise. And I'm like, could you just pipe down for 5 minutes? My daughter needs to fall asleep. I would like to fall asleep. And it just never shut off. And I was there kind of just irritated. And you're like, wow, you're cranky. It's okay. I have a point. And I remember God speaking to me at that moment and saying, my love never fails either. It never goes away. It never stops. It always keeps coming at you. And it will never stop, no matter how much you try, how much you wish me away, how much you try to put up barriers and all kinds of stuff. It is still going to keep coming. And that is the ocean. And so that was, for me, part of Sri Lanka, was really seeing God at his creativity and his deepest love. There is nothing we can do to run away from his love. Yes, you can go inland, but his love is still coming, and his love is still flowing, and it is not stopping towards you. And it was so interesting this time for me because we spent so much more time in people's homes and in churches and doing different coffees, not as much time out in nature as I would like to look out, not necessarily be in. Remember this? But when we were, I was reminded of God's love and his creativity, and that God loves created things. Like he made all these plants and all these different animals, and he placed them all over the world, and he made each and every one of us unique and different. And so often I feel like I am the oddball. I feel like I don't fit the mold. I am not a regular mom. First of all, because I have one child, and a lot of people don't count that as a mom, which is really sad because I think it's hard to be a mom just in general, no matter how many kids you have. Second, I am a very not super crazy like helicopter mom. I'm kind of a let's see how this goes kind of mom. And so I often feel like the oddball. I'm an odd pastor's wife. First of all, because we don't have a church. We go to a church and we do ministry every single weekend, but we don't have a church that we pastor. So I'm not a typical pastor's wife. I don't fit in there. I'm not a typical wife. Because my husband and I have different hobbies. We spend time together. We spend time apart. It is just part of who we are. And so often I feel like, God, I'm an oddball. And then you go to Sri Lanka, or you go to a foreign country, or you just go out into nature, and you see that God made a lot of different creative, odd things that all have a purpose and all have a plan and all interweave into one another. And he loves those creative things. His love continues to flow towards the things that are a little odd and a little strange looking to maybe other people, but God made you uniquely you. And so I just wanted to encourage you this week. Embrace your oddity. Embrace how God has made you a little unique. And if you need a reminder, start going out into nature and seeing the things that God has done in nature. Even that every tree has a different kind of leaf is so interesting to me. We're actually hoping to plant a tree in our yard for the first time in 25 years. I know, it's shocking. But we're looking at trees, and every one of these trees has a different kind of leaf. Even different kinds of maples. So in Minnesota, we have a thing called a maple tree. And I had no idea. There were multiple kinds of maple trees. And they all kind of have similar leaves, but they're all different. God did not create anything to be the same. He loves the oddity that he made you. And I just want you to be encouraged by that. God can use those things in your life. And that if you just need a reminder, go onto YouTube and put on the ocean and just have it flowing in your house. You know how you can put it up on a big screen and have the ocean go, and remind yourself of God's love, that it never stops and never stops coming after you. It will always be there. Even if you try to block it out or you try to run away from it, his love is always there. And it is strong and it is powerful and it can change your life if you let it. And so just if you need a reminder of God's love, look at the ocean for a little bit and see how powerful and loving he is towards you. But also look at the world around you and see that God loves that you're uniquely you and that you have the passions and the giftings that he made just for you, that no one else can fill that spot. No one else can be that mom to those kids. No one else can be that wife. No one else can be that worker. No one else can be that friend. Only you can. And God made you uniquely you for such a time as this. Well, that's all I have for you this week. I just pray that you will find the love of God in your life this week in a deeper and new way, and that you will see that God uniquely made you for such a time as this. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Be Real at Real Life with Jenny. You can also find me at christconnection.cc/Jen. We are booking out services now for, I believe, fall, Christmas, and spring. We have quite a bit is already filling up. But if you would like a women's service or a Sunday morning or a retreat, just reach out. I would love to come and encourage the ladies of your church or your church. God has got some great things planned for you because you are uniquely gifted for such a time as this. You all have a great week.